me this. Do you think Lamar's been the best quarterback in the AFC this season?
I don't. I think his team has played the best as a team, but I think Tua has played as well, if not better. I think C.J. Stroud was having a better year. I'm talking about just playing the position. Now, do I think their teams are better? Because I believe their overall team. I believe the Ravens are an overall better team, especially defensively. Now, I think offensively, Miami has the nod. I think the Ravens are an overall better team, both offensively and defensively, and we see now they've lost both of their receivers. Nico Collins went out yesterday. Tank Dell went out a couple of weeks ago. But as far as just playing the position, if you look at the numbers statistically and you look at what Tua has done, and I know people are going to say, well, if you gave Lamar Jalen Waddle, if you gave him those running backs, if you gave him Tyreek, and yada, 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 you gave him Tank Dell, I get all that. But I'm just strictly talking about the quarterback position. I think C.J. Stroud has played the position just as well, if not better, and I will say Tua has a slight lead playing the position over Lamar. But I do think Lamar team is better, therefore their record is better, and I think they're the best team in the AFC. But I think Tua and C.J. Stroud going yesterday, notwithstanding for C.J. Stroud, he ended up getting knocked out of the game.
He got hurt.
But I thought, coming in until yesterday, yes, I think those two quarterbacks was right there with Lamar. Tua slightly better.
Yeah, you know what? So, I don't disagree with that because when you look at the pure passing of the position and the way Tua Tagovailoa, especially early on in the season, was playing, there was no quarterback, I don't believe, in any conference playing as well as he was. And obviously, what CJ has done, he's far exceeded expectations, and to me is already a top 6 or 7 quarterback in the entire NFL. But the thing that Lamar has that's different from both of those guys is when you put the pressure on him, when he has to use his legs, he's just as scary. And what I enjoyed seeing from him yesterday was that Matthew Stafford put pressure on this Baltimore Ravens defense. Matthew Stafford put up 30 points. And when Lamar Jackson had to drive this team to score a touchdown, not a field goal, he got the football to Zay Flowers. And when they needed that 2-point conversion so they could be up a field goal and make Matthew Stafford at least try to put it in overtime, he then hit Zay Flowers again. Now, the first possession of overtime wasn't what Lamar wanted, but when I see him in those situations, that's when I start to think about January. We all know we've seen Lamar Jackson be the best quarterback or the best player in this entire league in the regular season. What it is about for him is, from a passing standpoint, can your game translate when it matters most? When you have to take the football in your hands and make plays. And that's where Lamar Jackson is going. If we're talking about who's been a better regular season quarterback, I take Tua Tagovailoa. Going forward, when I continue to see Lamar Jackson do what he did yesterday, especially late in the game, I'm starting to be more confident in what him and his team could do, as Shannon said, in the playoffs. And in truth, Shay, that's what matters.
Let me say this.
Stephen A., can I say this before you go, Stephen A.? Let me say this before you go. Sure. You said something that the Ravens got the ball first in overtime, RC, and you saw Lamar. I was more impressed by what he didn't do as opposed to what he did do. Because when he missed with the out ball, he missed out of bounds.
Outside,
There have been times before he missed, that's a pick six to the house, and the ball game's over. So sometimes it's not about what you do, it's about what you don't do.
I'm going to roll with this. Educate me on this, fellas, for a second here. I'm just looking at Lamar Jackson. Let me just throw out some numbers here. Total TDs, he's tied for 7th among AFC quarterbacks with 21 total touchdowns. Josh Allen, Tua, Russell Wilson, Mahomes, Herbert, Stroud all have more, okay? Total offensive yards, he ranks 4th among AFC quarterbacks, behind Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and C.J. Stroud in total yards. Total QBR, Lamar ranks 6th among AFC quarterbacks, behind Josh Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Tua, and Trevor Lawrence. He's playing well, but also benefits from having the NFL's second-ranked total defense and scoring defense. I throw those numbers out because, to me, moving forward, I still think Lamar. But I'm with you about Tua. I also feel Stroud belongs in there. And what I'm looking at him, because, I'm just looking at the gamer that he is. His ability to throw the football, the weapons that he's working with, the weapons that he's working with. We didn't hear about the Tank Dells and all of these guys.
Nico Collins.
We weren't really hearing about them. I know that Odell Beckham Jr., isn't what he once was in a lot of people's eyes, even though he's come on strong as of late and has been reminding us of what the hell he still is. But we know what OBJ brings to the table. He'd have been Super Bowl MVP if he hadn't gotten hurt. I'm telling you, he would have been Super Bowl. I saw him before the Super Bowl, and he was like, Stephen A., I'm going to put on a show, and I'll be damned if he wasn't on the verge of putting on the show. Make no mistake about it. Obviously, Mark Andrews is down, but we've seen what this man was capable of when he was in the lineup. You see Zay Flowers and what he brings to the table. But that defense does help you, and it buffers Lamar Jackson to some degree. But I think that Lamar Jackson is electrifying with running the football. And like you highlighted, Shannon, he's making better decisions throwing the football, even when they're incomplete passes, RC, as well. So he's elevated his, the cerebral portion of his game to some degree. And so when you look at it from that perspective, along with the exceptional coaching, along with being buffered by a defense, I think that moving forward, you'll look at Lamar Jackson and say, that's the dude. But I can't ignore Tua if I'm going to praise Tyreek Hill, who's on the verge of getting 2,000 yards because somebody threw him the football.
One thing I want to say before we go to, though, like, you can't deny what Josh Allen has been doing since Joe Brady took over as the offensive coordinator.
We're going to dive into that next. So the Ravens have led in every fourth quarter this season. They currently hold the AFC's 1 seed. And as RC just mentioned, we're getting into some more AFC action. KC was set to erupt when Travis Kelce caught a Patrick Mahomes pass and threw a backward pass to Kadarius Toney for what appeared to be a touchdown. Until the penalty was announced, Toney had lined up offsides, and instead of having a lead, the Chiefs suffered their second straight loss, this time to Buffalo. Here's Mahomes and Reed on that play.
I've played 7 years, never had offensive offsides called. I mean, that's elementary school. We talk about. I mean, you point to the ref, do all that different type of stuff, and it doesn't get called. And if it does, they warn you. And there was no warning throughout the entire game. And then you wait till there's a minute left in the game to make a call like that. It's tough, man. It's lost for words, man. It's tough because regardless if we win or lose, man, just for it to end with another game and we're talking about the refs, man, it's just not what we want for the NFL and for football. For him to throw that flag, no explanation, no anything, and I saw the picture, and he probably is, barely offsides, but for him to take the game into his hands over a call like that doesn't affect the play at all, didn't affect anything. It's just tough, man. And like I said, man, that's a Hall of Fame tight end making a Hall of Fame play that won't be shown because we threw a flag for an offensive offsides. And so it takes away from not only this game and this season, but from a legendary career that Travis has had. And that hurts me because I know how hard he works for it.
Normally I get a warning before something like that happens in a big game. A bit embarrassing in the National Football League for that to take place. I've been in the league a long time, and I haven't had one like that.
Can't wait to break this down. So Mahomes thought he was barely offsides. Head referee Carl Sheffers didn't see it that way. He said after the game, ultimately, if they look for alignment advice, certainly we're going to give it to them. But ultimately, they're responsible for wherever they line up. And certainly no warning is required, especially if they're lined up so far offsides where they're actually blocking our view of the ball. So we would give them sort of a warning if it was anywhere close. But this particular one is beyond a warning. All right, heck of a day of football yesterday. Stephen A., does Mahomes have the right to be that upset?
No, he does not. Listen, I'm with 2 Super Bowl champions and a Hall of Famer. I will always defer to y'all when it comes to football, but as a spectator who's covered sports for 30 years now, let me tell you this. Patrick Mahomes may be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. It's the first time in his career I've seen him embarrass himself. I've known Andy Reid since the 90s when I was working for the Philadelphia Inquirer, who is a Hall of Fame coach. Yep. Outside of Bill Belichick, can we definitively look at anybody in the modern-day coaching or fraternity that we can say is better or has a better resume than Andy Reid? I've never seen them embarrass themselves until yesterday. Your receiver lined up offside. Period. Now, we don't even have to get into the fact that the dropped passes by receivers have now elevated to 33. 33 dropped passes by Kansas City receivers this year. We could sit up there and say that. By the way, Kadarius Toney, not only was he offsides, but then he was the one that Travis Kelce lateraled the ball to that ran it in for the touchdown, okay? And then, by the way, he also had a drop earlier in the game.
Yeah.
And so you got a drop pass. You lined up offsides. Andy Reid, an offensive genius, okay, proving it, okay. I understand Eric Bieniemy is out, but we all know that Andy Reid knows what the hell he's doing when it comes to calling plays and running an offense, patrolling an offense. We get where we're coming from. Why the hell are these receivers this bad? There is no way around it. Everywhere you turn collectively, guys are dropping passes. You guys know this better than me. They're not on the same page with Mahomes in terms of running routes. We've got Patrick Mahomes right here, guys. This dude is averaging a career low 261.4 passing yards per game, which ranks 9th in the National Football League. Last year, he was at 308.8. A precipitous drop-off. We know for a fact that's not because Patrick Mahomes ain't throwing the football. Right. It's because they ain't catching it. They ain't catching it. And so you're not catching the football, you're running wrong routes, and on top of it all, now you can't even line up accurately. You know this if you Andy Reid. You know this if you Patrick Mahomes. And you losing it because the officials made the call. They were in a position to make the calls because your receivers keep messing up.
Yeah.
And so for them to react the way that they did, Patrick Mahomes, I give somewhat of a pass because it was in the moment on the field. But for Andy Reid to be the experienced head coach that he is, a champion, okay, and then to turn around after a 10-minute break or whatever it is and walk into a press conference and talk about how the league and the officials should be ashamed of themselves. Come on, man. You got two eyes and you're too brilliant of a coach to not know that your receivers, once again, let you down.
Therein lies the problem. Nobody has yet to hold Kadarius Toney responsible. There's a reason why the New York Football Giants gave up on a first-round pick 22, 23 games until his NFL career and said, Kansas City, you can have him for a third-round pick. Nobody has held him responsible for all those drops. Nobody has held him responsible for those fumbles. When the ball's carrying him off his hands. Remember the first game of the season, guys? Ball carrying him off his hand, pick six, touchdown. Nobody. We blaming the officials. The man is a full body. The side judge, the lineman side judge, he can't even see the ball. He can't see the ball. And they say, they normally give you a warning. Normally, RC, trust me, before I was a tight end, I was a wide receiver. And even as a tight end, I was lined up outside the numbers, Stephen A. I would look at am I good? Back up 84. I've got to ask because here's the thing. RC, you know this. If the official is giving me information, you overhear that, you're going to go tell the reporters, well, the official was telling Sharpe what he needed to do. They tell him he was holding me. They say, Sharpe, get your hands inside. Hey, Sharpe, you need to back up. I have to ask. I have to solicit that information. If you look at where Kadarius Toney was lined up, hell, he had a tight split. He didn't even look up. How did he not see he was offside? Held the ball right there. He's in front of the football. And you say, well, he had no... Of course not, because you didn't intend to throw him the ball. Look where he's at. He's looking... RC, the guy's looking down at the ball.